welcome back to day 2 of 14 Days with You. This time we continue our adventures with Ren after a very eventful first night where we might have canoodled together and, fandangled the wimwam. Anyway, let's get started. The sounds of birds chirping outside pull me from my slumber as streaks of sunlight peek through the blinds of my window and cast a warm glow across my skin. I wanted nothing more than to reach out and close the blinds, but something, or rather someone, seemed to be stopping me. A familiar pair of white sleeves are wrapped securely around my waist, so I turn around, only to find Ren staring intently at me from his side of the bed. Oh, right. I forgot that we, committed the coitus. Heat rises to my cheeks as the memories from last night come rushing back, and I sheepishly try to hide my reddening face in the pillows. But Ren only seems to find amusement in my state of embarrassment with how his eyes crinkle while he lightly chuckles underneath the morning light. He looked far too pretty in the sunlight for a man who'd surely woken up no more than 5 minutes ago, and I had to fight the urge to take a picture of him to commit the scene to memory. He's very cute. Oh, on second thought, that would have been far too creepy. I'm really intrigued by the tattoo that he's got. I really want to see what he's got going on. But I couldn't help myself from stealing one more peek at his soft demeanor before covering my face again. And without warning, Ren pulls me closer before he nuzzles his head into the crook of my neck and inhales deeply. His sudden act of affection startled me, to say the least, and despite the events that unfolded last night, he seemed far too comfortable to be acting this familiar and cuddly with me. How was he acting so carefree after what we had done? It was like he thought that waking up next to each other like this was completely normal to him. Oh, does this imply that he's slept in our bed before and we just don't know it? Morning. Admittedly, his sleepy voice sounded rather pleasant when he spoke it so close to my ear, but I had other, more pressing issues to concern myself over. I just didn't know how to casually broach the topic with him yet. Ren, however, didn't seem to want to acknowledge the heavy air between us, and instead felt content with snuggling up to me and tickling my neck with his breath. So, to try and put some distance between us, I push against his chest and attempt to strike up a conversation. Good morning, sleepyhead. How long have you been awake? Long enough to find out that you drool in your sleep. I do? Nah, I'm just kidding. His laughter ghosts across my cheek as he nuzzles his face into my neck once more, and his hands glide across my back to draw me impossibly close to his body. Close enough until both of our bodies are pressed against each other, and I could feel the all-too-familiar warmth radiating from his skin. The sensation sends a shiver up my spine, and I only hope Ren didn't notice it. Are you hungry? I can make us breakfast if you want. Can't we stay here instead? As much as I'd love to sleep in, I don't want to waste the day. But I do, and you're very warm. And you're getting a bit too clingy. While I meant it lightheartedly, I don't think Ren took it the same way, judging from the low whine that emits from the back of his throat and the deep sigh he releases into my skin. It takes him a moment before he finally detaches himself from me, and even from my spot on the bed, I could see the soft pout he was sporting. Without a care in the world, Ren sits up from his side of the bed and lets out a lengthy, drawn-out yawn, not acknowledging the blanket falling from his body and exposing his lower half to my eyes. Oh! I just realized he's got the blanket covering it. He's got a tattoo on his hip as well. Almost sheepishly, I avert my gaze and wait until he's done. We could go to that cafe near the pier for breakfast, the one that recently opened up. You mean the Driftwood Cafe? I didn't know it was open to the public. If you want, we could go have a look. Besides, you said it yourself, you didn't want to waste the day. What better than to start it by going on a nice, sunny morning walk? He sends me a cheeky smile, but I can tell by his sarcastic tone that the last thing he wants to do is get out of bed. But seeing him act so casual and lively makes me wonder what had happened to his shy persona from yesterday. It was fake. Was he more comfortable around me now? I certainly would assume so after how intimate we got last night. Of course, I still need to talk to him about that, but Ren seemed almost adamant about avoiding the topic altogether. Well, I suppose we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The thought of good food was much more tempting. Wait, where did I... Glancing over at Ren once more, I notice how he almost seems flustered as he looks around the room before lifting up the sheets and the pillows around him. He sends me a sheepish smile when our eyes briefly meet before he goes back to searching for whatever it was he was looking for on the floor. And they almost get rolled over when he tries to hoist the blanket around his waist and rise from the bed. I don't suppose... Do you know where my pants are? Rolling my eyes, I toss him a pillow to cover up before groaning into my arm. In the end, Ren and I decided to walk to the cafe together. Considering how the weather was perfect and it wasn't that far from my apartment. Woohoo! Turning to my side, I notice how the pink-haired man tries to not so subtly sneak side glances towards me. The arm at his side practically itches to reach out, and if I knew any better, I would have assumed he wanted to hold my hand. But instead, he simply tucks his hand into his pockets and shoots me yet another soft smile. The weather's really nice today, huh? Back to small talk, it seems. Sure is. If I had known it would be this nice and sunny, I would have suggested spending the day at the beach instead. And then, at the beach arc with Ren when? I want to see his tattoo. Yeah? Yeah, we could go for a swim, or maybe even check out the rock pools. It's been a while since I've been there. One time I looked into a rock pool with my butt facing the waves, and then a wave came in because it was like highish tide and it pushed me into the rock pool. That was great. Oh, that does sound fun. Hey, Leon! At the sound of my name being called, I turn on my heels, only to find Leon running up to me with a sports bag full of what I assume to be his volleyball gear. He just instantly he's not subtle. Hey, Sunfish, it's good to see you out and about this early. I was just on my way to the beach to meet up with Jaehyun and Tear. Wanna tag along? And hey, it's Ron, right? Nice to see you again, buddy. Oh, it's Ren, actually. Sunfish. Oh, yeah. Sunfish is a cheesy nickname Leon gave me when we were kids. I don't really get it either, to be honest. So, Sunfish and Ren, was it? Sorry about that, bud. I'm not too good with names. Faces too sometimes. But hey, it's good to see you both again. Doing anything exciting today? If not, you can tag along with me and Angelfish and I were about to go on a date, actually. He just straight up stole Leon's nickname for me and put Angel at the start of it. Angelfish? A date? Leon doesn't look too happy either. I don't miss the way Ren suddenly pulls my arm closer to his side, nor the way he clings onto me as though I'd suddenly disappear. You're going on dates again, doll? Good for you. I'm glad to see that you're coming out of your shell again. Take good care of it for me, won't you, bud? What do you think I've been doing ever since you moved away? Leon moved away years ago. Like me, Leon barely seems to notice Ren's mumbling as he rests an arm over my shoulder and starts tugging me in the direction of the beach. Ren, on the other hand, still latches onto my arm but doesn't seem to move. I can't believe my little sunfish is out there in the dating scene again. I feel like a proud father. Oh please, we're basically the same age. I feel like a proud, adoptive father. Leon pretends to wipe a tear from his eyes as he leans further into my shoulder. And it was only then that I noticed Ren wasn't following us. Turning around, I reach out to grab his hand and tug him along. He immediately seems to perk up at the action and then twines his fingers with mine before falling into step. Leon's glaring. He did not like that. Alright, as fun as it is to catch up with my proud adoptive father who's the same age as me, which makes things kinda weird, Ren and I do need to get going. Oh yeah, of course, didn't mean to take up so much of your time. He unhooks his arm from around my shoulder and inclines his head towards the beach one more time. But my offer still stands. If you want to catch up some more, I'll be down at the beach with... Oh, who's that? He's hot. Ugh. Hello. Oh, the tattoos. The hair. I'm a big fan of green. Green's my favorite color. Damn, what size bra does this guy wear? His shoulders and... Oh my god. Are you single? Oi. Speak of the devil. Much like Jay, Theodore was another friend I made in university. But if I was being honest here, I don't think he was actually enrolled in anything. I like him already. He just showed up every so often to keep his attendance rate up and to antagonize some of the students and staff. Oh, I like him already. As if reading my mind, Tio practically runs into Ren with the sole purpose of sending him tumbling into the metal railing behind him. That's a bit mean. But luckily, Ren manages to catch his footing at the last second, sending Tio an annoyed scowl of his own. Oh shit, sorry about that. I'm not sure how I missed such a brightly coloured children's mascot. That's mean. Why are we being mean to Ren? Alright, there's no need for that here. Despite Leon's tone, Tio barely pays the shorter male any mind, seeming far more interested in Ren instead. Let me guess, you're dressed up as Benny the Buttercup? My 4-year-old cousin would love you. Okay. Come on. Like, you're attractive and hot, but let's not be mean. Oi, knock it off, mate. What's your problem? Dunno. What's yours? I could practically feel the tension between the two grow, so I decided to step in. Maybe you should introduce each other first before you try glaring each other to death? Dear, this is Ren. He's my... well... oh, I spy drama. I'm her boyfriend. We have not chatted about this, Ren. We have not talked about this. Well, that was certainly one way to put it, especially without discussing it with me beforehand and asking for my input. But then again, we did sleep together last night and I still hadn't been able to broach the subject with him yet. Yeah, but sleeping together doesn't always necessarily mean you're dating. Ooh. At his words, I shoot Ren a confused glance, but the determined look on his face had me biting back my words. Okay then. Anyway, this is Tio. He's... my ex-boyfriend. Shit. I have a feeling if I pick this one, it puts Tio in danger, but also, I kind of want to give you guys a spice, the drama. He's my ex-boyfriend. Yeah, I don't like to date people outside of my tax bracket. And don't get it twisted, doll, we were never exclusive. I never even brought up the concept of dating when I was with you. Oh, that explains why you were fine with cheating on me. Wait, what? I thought you guys were just friends. An asshole. Look, it's not cheating if I was never your boyfriend. Tio, I don't like him anymore. Alright, why don't we change the subject? I'm sorry, you weren't my boyfriend, then why would you ask me not to see other people? You think I want to share you with others and let them have what's mine? Oh no! Before I can step forward and knock some sense into that idiot, Ren seems to beat me to it. He grabs the other male by the collar of his shirt, but Tio only looks on with a lazy smirk. The fuck's your problem, asshole? Oh no, it's getting spicy. That was the second time I'd ever heard Ren swear. Was he usually this accustomed to cussing? Okay, enough. Look, why don't we just drop the issue? You really need to stop trying to pick fights with everyone, mate. Don't get your panties in a twist. I seriously doubt Buttercup's capable of harming a fly, let alone able to throw a decent punch. I don't know about that, Tio. He's got pretty big titties as well. You can drop the nickname. Nah, but I think Dollface over here should drop you instead. Shit, what's going on? Besides, nickname's kinda cute. Matches your style pretty well, don't you think, Buttercup? I could see Ren's hand clench into a fist as he advances towards Tio, but thankfully Leon steps in once more. Seriously, why don't we all cool off, yeah? I think we're getting a bit too heated. Look, we're gonna head down to the beach. I don't miss the way Leon sends Tio a sharp glare. You sure you don't want to join us, Yinny? I promise to make sure that Tio stays on his best behavior. Sorry, Leo, but I've already made plans with Ren, and I seriously doubt they'll be able to get along. You know how Tio can get. Yeah, you got a point there. Well, alright then. He leans closer to me, almost as if he didn't want the other two eavesdropping. If anything happens, I'll be in the area. Just come find me, okay? Leon is so sweet. I will. Thanks, Leon. I give his arm a soft squeeze and turn my attention back to Ren. But by the way he looks at us, I can only assume that he didn't like how close I was standing to my childhood friend. Though that could have also been because Tio was still around, and honestly, I couldn't blame him. Regardless, I reach for his hand once more and tug him towards the cafe, making a point of ignoring Tio's crass words as we went along. I barely notice how Ren's mood immediately changes when my attention is back on him, and he follows along like a lost puppy. We eventually arrive at the Driftwood Cafe, and the smell of fresh pastries and brewed coffee flood my senses as it wafts through the open windows. That was intense. That was wild. Holy shit. And just as I had thought, the cafe looked as though it had only recently opened, though it didn't seem as busy or crowded as I anticipated. Pulling me from my thoughts, Ren ushers me into one of the empty tables, before he goes off to make an order with a pleased look on his face. It was a bit strange how he didn't want me to look at the menu first, but I chalked it up to him wanting to surprise me. He'd barely gone for 5 minutes before he returned once more, taking a seat in front of me with a huff. A comfortable silence washes over us as I watch as he absent-mindedly fiddles with the ends of his hair. Was he still concerned about what Tio said about his appearance earlier? Maybe it'd be a good idea to take his mind off it. Hey, Ren? Almost immediately, he perks up with wide eyes. How do you manage to keep your hair so fluffy? It always looks so good. Ren seems to flush instantly at my words, and he sheepishly ducks his head lower to hide his reddening cheeks. Like it? I usually just angle a blow dryer below my chin and blast the heat, and it just stays like that after. Oh, so you don't need to use any products or anything? not really. Just when I thought he got over his timid personality, it slowly came crawling back. Was this really who he was? Ren must have taken my silence as a lack of response, seeing as he tries striking up another conversation. So, work's going good for you, huh? Finally got that promotion? Yeah, I did. I was honestly surprised when I got my first promotion, considering how I've only moved back here recently. But Eleanor has been really helpful by showing me the ropes and... Wait, how did you know I got promoted? Oh, your co-worker told me all about it yesterday after you left. Eleanor, right? She seemed really proud of you. Anyways, what were you saying about her showing you the ropes? I barely noticed how he managed to change the conversation back to me, as I recounted all the times Eleanor helped me through my first week of working at the library. It eventually reached the point where it felt like I'd been talking for hours, and it wasn't until something caught my eye did I finally stop. Oh, I feel like this is bad. That goth style is pretty cool. Goth style? He also glances out the window and follows my line of sight before landing on the person walking by. They were decked out head to toe with heavy makeup, platform boots, and clothing you'd only find in stores like Not Tropic. Ren's eyes seemed to follow their form until they're out of sight, and the impassive look on his face made me curious. Yeah, it is kinda cool. Do you like that kind of style? Because I always thought you preferred something softer and... Order 25. Oh, that's us. Wait right here, I'll be back. Is he gonna change his style? Before I could get a word in, Ren was jumping out of his seat and meandering his way towards the kiosk. It really was a sight to behold, seeing Ren tower over most of the other customers who were waiting in line. Even the cashier herself, who seemed to be at least 6 feet tall, had to crane her neck upwards just to look at him. Oh, he's tall! Before I could blink twice, Ren was already on his way back with a large tray full of delicious food. He seats himself back in his original spot with a pleased smile and begins to lay out the dishes in front of me. Oh, this is... I guess scone. I'm not really a croissant, cake, or sugar cookie person in the morning. A delicious looking scone sits next to my beverage, and I almost heard my stomach rumble at the sight. How did Ren know this was my favorite thing to order? Granted, it wasn't like I've been to the Driftwood Cafe before, but this was usually what I'd order at any cafe. Oh. It was honestly like he could read my mind, or maybe more like he's been following you for a good while. And what was even more mind-boggling was that he didn't even need to look at the menu beforehand. It was like he just knew. See, I'm very intrigued by this. I wonder if Ren is actually human or not. Because of the glitchiness that we get. Like, he just knew we were lying. Like the glitchy text and everything. Don't forget your drink. Ren shoots me another gentle smile of his before placing my drink before me. No way! The drink he placed in front of me, it was... smoothie. The inviting aroma of fruit floods my senses, and that alone was what assured me that Ren ordered my favorite smoothie. Just like the ones I usually bring on my way to work sometimes. I hope this is okay. Unfortunately, this cafe doesn't really have much to offer, judging from the menu I saw online. Ah, so that's how he knew what to order. I even tried asking for napkins earlier, but I don't think they heard me. Maybe I should try again? I almost felt bad for him. I also felt grateful for him for ordering me something that I normally eat at a cafe. Ren makes sure everything is on the table before putting the tray aside, and it was then I noticed what he ordered for himself. On his plate sat a strawberry sweet roll alongside a cup of coffee that was an alarming shade of black. He seems to pick up on my inquisitive stare as if the innocent tilt of his head was anything to go by. Do you want my meal instead? We can swap if you want, I don't mind. This was supposed to be a date, right? Deciding to tease him a little, I shoot Ren a sly grin. That's okay, but you could offer me a bite instead. Ren seems to almost combust on the spot as his cheeks turn red, and he almost chokes on his own spit. He looks down at his food before glancing back at me, only to look down once more to scoop up a bite-sized piece of his food. I watch as Ren's cheeks turn a deep shade of red while he brings his fork closer to me, and not wanting to be seen as a coward, I lean in to take a bite. His eyes widen almost immediately, and he seems hyper-focused on the way my mouth wraps around the fork before I lick my lips and let out a pleased hum. It's yummy. Try some. The pink-haired man seems to have an awkwardly long staring contest with his own fork before scooping up yet another small piece and taking a bite. Ren's cheeks are still scarlet red, and he seems almost fidgety with how his leg keeps bouncing under the table, so I decide to take pity on him and not tease him for it. With a knowing smile, I start digging into my own meal with a pleased hum. Eventually, we end up finishing our meals and decide to do a bit of window shopping to pass the time. I had nothing else to do today, and Ren seemed insistent on spending the rest of his time with me, so I agreed. We passed by a few clothing stores, ice cream stands, surfboard rentals, and many other interesting buildings, though nothing really caught my eye. But just as I thought I'd lost all hope, one store in particular catches my eye. In one of the display windows, I spot a cute little rabbit plushie in the style of Haruko's likeness. I mean, it even came with his limited edition sorcerer outfit and everything. I couldn't believe they were selling these things here, of all places, and at such a cheap price too. Ren seems to notice what I was not so subtly gawking at, but before we could enter the store, the cashier walks in front of the display stand and blocks our view. She drops a box of miscellaneous items at her feet and begins stocking the shelf next to the plushies before she finally notices us standing by the window. I don't miss the way her eyes widen at Ren, obviously taking an immediate liking to him, and almost shamelessly pushes a strand of her hair behind her ears before giving him a small wave. Hey, hang on a second, that's my boyfriend, even though he's a little bit weird. Sneaking a glance at the taller man beside me, I notice how Ren wasn't even paying any attention to her, instead keeping himself busy by scratching at his jaw and kicking at the stray cobblestone rocks by his feet. But the cashier seemed adamant about getting Ren's attention, considering how she felt the need to abandon her spot by the shelves and make her way towards us. Hi there, welcome to Seaside Trinkets. My name is Olivia. Can I help you with anything? Oh, no, we're just looking around, but thanks for... We recently got some new beachwear merch if you're interested in checking them out. Oh, Ren just saw her cut me off. Yeah. God, he's so big. Was she seriously ignoring me? Oh, you kind of look like someone I know. Have we met before? Maybe we went to the same school. Me? I don't think so. Really? I definitely would have remembered a face like yours. Actually, now that I've got a good look at you... I watch as she shamelessly takes in Ren's appearance before crossing her arms over her chest and leaning back. You also remind me of one of those characters from a cartoon that's been gaining a ton of traction here. Apparently one of the locations from that show is based on Colin Bay's main beach. You talking about Attack on Giant? Is that the name of it? Then yeah. I don't really know much about these cartoons, but our company recently started selling some stuff for it to entice the tourists. Do you want to come inside and take a look? Ren doesn't seem to answer her question, and instead casts an inquisitive glance in my direction. It was like he was asking me for my opinion, and I can only assume it was because he knew about my interest in anime. That's my boyfriend! Also, if I see two people together who seem to be going out, because Ren and I are holding hands, I wouldn't just come up and start flirting. It was thoughtful of him to do that, but I kind of wanted him to tell that rude worker off instead. Wait, did I really want him to do that? What was wrong with me? I'm sure that cashier just took an interest in him, and there was nothing wrong with that. It's not like we're a couple anyway, but we were supposed to be on a date right now, and Ren did declare himself as my boyfriend earlier. But I just assumed he said that in order to get Tio off my back. Does that mean... was he feeling the same way as me? Was jealousy on his mind when we talked with Leon and Tio earlier? I wasn't sure how I felt about this new discovery. Yinny? Huh? Do you want to go look at the items? We've got a bit of time to kill. Yeah, why didn't I show you the most recent stock? We haven't showed this to the general public yet, but I'm sure you'll love it. Without warning, Olivia, was that her name? Reaches out for Ren's arms and drags him inside the store. He lets out a surprised sound before leaning back and trying to grab hold of my own arm as well, but I was just out of reach. There was nothing else I could do but watch as Ren helplessly gets pulled into the store. It's back here in the stock rooms. Usually we don't allow customers downstairs, but you're a real hottie, so I'll let you take a sneak peek. Get away! He's my boyfriend! No, actually, I'm good. Don't worry, we won't get caught. I'm sure your girlfriend won't mind if I borrow you for a bit. The wink she sends him would have made anyone feel uncomfortable, and had Ren turned around, I would have seen the pissed off look on his face. But instead, he leans in close to her face and whispers in a hushed tone that I could barely hear from my spot outside the store. Oh my god! If she wasn't standing there right now, I would have shoved your desperate ass down the staircase without a second thought. And right now, it's really fucking tempting. What? From their current position, it looked as though they were having a really intimate conversation, and I felt the sudden urge to look away. Why was I getting so bothered over this? I know we aren't exactly together, but Ren shouldn't be off flirting with other people while on a date with someone else. Besides, this was exactly the type of thing Tia would do to me when we were dating. He'd go around shamelessly flirting with other people, sometimes while I was in the very same room. And what made it worse was that he simply laughed it off by saying he was just messing around, and that I shouldn't be getting so worked up over it. I honestly couldn't believe that Ren was doing the same thing to me right now. But still, there was this nagging voice at the back of my head that kept telling me not to give up on him so easily. Ren was the one who confidently stood his ground when Tia got a bit suggestive, so maybe I should do the same. Would he even mind? Before I can stop myself, my feet start to move on autopilot as I march towards the two of them and reach for Ren's sleeve. I give it a hesitant tug, and I swear I could feel the relief wash over his body because of it. Ren's entire demeanor seems to change in that moment, and he turns to me with a relieved smile on his soft features. I don't really have any interest in this store. Can we go somewhere else? Yeah, of course. Wait, hold on. Ren carelessly shoves Olivia's outstretched hand aside and gently places an arm over my shoulder instead. And just like that, he's already guiding me out of the store and back onto the busy street. I can hear Olivia sputter out confused sounds as she watches the two of us leave, and I suddenly felt guilty for causing a rift between them. God, that was intense. No matter how many times I tried to brush it aside, I still couldn't get my mind off of what had just occurred earlier. What if Ren was interested in her? Granted, he probably shouldn't have blatantly flirted with her while on a date with me, but he wasn't exactly the most confident guy. Would he still be able to talk to her again if things didn't work out between us? No, I shouldn't be thinking like that. Peering up to Gage's expression, I noticed how he didn't really look all that upset about leaving her. If anything, he seemed rather content to be walking down the street with his fingers entwined with mine once more. I can feel him give my hand a protective squeeze as he looks down at me with his soft blue eyes, and all my worries somehow melt away. Maybe I did make the right choice after all. It might have been selfish, but it was worth having Ren look at me with such a gentle expression. Eventually, the sun starts to set behind the ocean as Ren and I continue to walk along the beach walk. Most of the conversation was geared towards me and my interests again, but every time I tried to learn more about Ren, he only seemed to divert the conversation back to me once more. But the more I focused on this odd behavior, the more I began to pick up on his social habits as well. I learned that Ren would subtly pick at the sleeves of his cardigan whenever he got nervous, or how he'd scratch at his jaw whenever the conversation strayed down a path he didn't feel comfortable with. His little quirks told me more about himself than the dead-end conversations that only led back to me, and I was content with knowing more about him than I did yesterday. Ren no longer felt like a stranger I'd met at the library, but rather someone I could consider a friend. I mean, we have also had his giant dick inside of us, so I'm pretty sure he's more than a friend at this point. Except friends don't spend the night together and get jealous whenever they flirt with someone else. Jeez, what was wrong with me? It had barely been 2 days and I was already contemplating whether or not I truly saw Ren in a romantic light. Was I going too fast? All these thoughts were starting to get a bit overwhelming and... Angel? Hello? Huh? You're spacing out on me again. There's that look again. He keeps peering down at me with so much adoration in his eyes, and if I didn't know any better, I would think he was already halfway in love with me. But that was a very conceited thought, and probably wasn't even true. Sorry, I was just thinking about things. You gonna share those things with the rest of the class? He sends me a playful smile and a gentle nudge into my side, and I couldn't help but laugh. When did we become so comfortable with each other? Yesterday when I was lying in bed and then he put his penis inside me? You know, when he slid his schlongus into me? And when did he lose his stutter? It's nothing really, maybe a bit embarrassing, but well, I was wondering, how do you feel about... My sentence gets cut short when a drop of rain lands on my cheek. Instinctively, I look up and find myself wondering how I didn't notice those dark clouds in the sky sooner. All of a sudden, more droplets fall down, until it's all but pouring and forcing everyone in the area to find cover. Over here! Ren doesn't seem to pay much attention when he grabs me by the hand and pulls me underneath one of the awnings of a nearby building. He shields me from the rain with his body, and I couldn't help but feel tiny with the way his arms cage me in as he rests them against the wall. Oh, yeah. We look at each other in silence for a brief moment before erupting in laughter. Perhaps it was because of the adrenaline from all the panicked running, or the fact that Ren's hair was starting to lose its fluffiness, but I couldn't hold back from letting out a fit of giggles. This only seemed to spur Ren on as well, until we're both wheezing out our lungs and gulping down air. I can't remember the last time I ran that fast. Me too. The looming sound of thunder echoes from afar and drowns out our laughter until we're both silent once more. Once we both calm down, Ren moves me further away from the rain before casting a glance behind him. Wait here, I'll buy us an umbrella so we can get out of this rain. But you get soaked. 'Tis a sacrifice I'm willing to make. I roll my eyes at this corny joke and send him off with an amused smile. He doesn't look back before he makes a mad dash out of the rain, down the street towards the closest convenience store, though the rain only seems to get heavier the moment he leaves, and I find myself pressing even further against the wall behind me to avoid the recoil of the rain bouncing off the pavement. There wasn't much for me to do while I waited for Ren to return, aside from watching people scramble around for shelter. And just like that, the carefree sounds of laughter echoing down the street capture my attention, as I watch Leon, Tio, and Jay all run to cover like their life depended on it. This is a real small town. It seems as though their beach outing got cut short as well. Glancing back once more, I barely make out the figure of Leon using his bag as a makeshift umbrella as he ducks under one of the awnings of an ice cream stand. All while Tio and Jay trail behind at a leisurely pace, kicking and splashing water at each other in the rain. I had to look away the moment Tio started to remove his shirt, and I had an inkling that it was so he could show off. I want to see Tio without a shirt on. Hello. Knowing Jaehyun, he'd follow along like a mindless grunt, because that's what he always does when it came to his friends. Part of me felt like calling out to the group to see if I could wait out the storm alongside them, but they all seemed to be enjoying themselves, and I didn't want to get in between that. Plus, I did promise Ren that I'd wait for him here, even if he was taking his sweet time. Did he go back to the store and push the girl down the stairs? Was he ever going to return? There was still no sign of him or his comfy-looking cardigan, and I was beginning to wonder if he really did ditch me. After all, it must have been more than 15 minutes by now. What if he got caught up with something? Or what if he went back to see that cashier lady again? Her store did happen to be on the same street, but after spending the afternoon with Ren and getting to know him, I concluded he wasn't the type of person to go do such a thing. But if he was, that would only add insult to injury, considering how Tia had done the same to me multiple times in the past. Although, if I was being honest with myself, it did seem as though they had chemistry, especially with how she looked at him and touched his arm as though it was the most natural thing in the world. She apparently knew him as well, or at least he looked recognizable enough. Why did that thought make my blood boil? Thankfully, the rain was there to cool me off, as well as soak the ends of my outfit and make everything feel damp and uncomfortable. Was Ren really coming back? It shouldn't take this long to buy an umbrella. How will you respond? I feel like something bad is going to happen if we walk home alone, so I'm going to wait. Maybe something did come up. I'm sure he'll come back. As if on cue, I spot a familiar patch of pink hair from under the misty rain, frantically sprinting with an umbrella in one hand and a bag under the other. Angel? Yinny? Ah! He almost slams into me before stopping just in time, and I could tell by the way he was wheezing that he ran all the way back here without stopping. Sorry, I almost thought I lost you there for a second. It's so hard to see in this weather. Jeez, Ren, what took you so long? I almost wanted to cuss him out for taking well over 20 minutes just to buy a single umbrella, but the genuinely apologetic look on his features made me hold my tongue. Sorry, I ran into your friends from earlier, which took me forever to shake them off. And then the convenience store ended up closing early due to the sudden weather change. So I had to go to that awful souvenir shop with that obnoxious and clingy cashier again, and he was talking a mile a minute, and I was worried that he'd end up biting his tongue. Gently, I raise a hand to signal for him to calm down, and his intense monologue soon comes to a halt. Did he push her down the stairs? I'm really sorry about making you wait so long, but ta-da! I did manage to get an umbrella, among other things as well. He gives it a small twirl in his hand, sending droplets of water all over the place. We can start heading back home now if you want, unless you want to go somewhere specific. I do want to go to his apartment and check it out. My apartment? Sure, it's not that far away. We could wait out the storm there if you like. I have a heater and dryer we could use. The image of me sitting in front of a warm, cozy heater was too hard to resist, so I end up eagerly stepping under Ren's umbrella while he leads the way. Despite the heavy downpour of rain, we managed to make it to Ren's apartment complex in one piece. I guess he really wasn't lying when he said his apartment wasn't far from mine. Did he rent close to me on purpose? But judging from the pristine interior and fully functioning elevator, his building seemed to be in far better shape compared to my apartment. The elevator ride could have been a little less awkward though, if it weren't for the slow ascent and tacky music, or for the fact that Ren deemed it appropriate to shake his hair like a wet dog and get water droplets everywhere. Once the elevator doors slid open, I was immediately met with a grandiose corridor and large spacious doors, and I found myself wondering how much it would cost to live in a place like this. Don't look too hard at how messy my place is, okay? I wasn't expecting to have someone over today, so I didn't bother cleaning up. I'm getting a weird sense of deja vu. Thankfully, I don't have any white-haired neighbors who like to take their plants on walks. Actually, now that I think about it, it's a bit strange. But no one lives on this floor aside from me. I'm not really sure why, but I'm not going to complain. Okay, so here's the thing. There's like little details about Ren that's making me think he's like something else that's not human. Because like the glitchiness is one thing. The Yandere behavior can just be chalked up to like, unhinged human behavior. But the fact that no one lives on the floor, like something weird is going on. I can make as much noise as I want and no one would notice. Oh, so we could be a little loud tonight, Ren? Ren shoots me a mischievous grin, and I find myself wondering what he meant by that. Oh, I know exactly what he meant by that. Like, loud music and stuff? Movies? Yeah, something like that. He unlocks the door with some electronic card attached to his keychain, and the moment the door swings open, I let out an audible gasp. Ren doesn't seem fazed in the slightest as he flicks on the light and walks into his own home, but I could only stand at the entrance to his foyer in shock. This place looks good! Ren, can I stay? I know it's a bit fast, but can I move in? I'm very poor. I'm very small, and I have no money, so you can imagine the kind of stress that I'm under. Yes, foyer. He had a whole damn foyer in his apartment. Was this even an apartment? Surely a penthouse would have made more sense. Holy shit, Ren. Is there something wrong? What is it? I know the decor is kind of tacky, but it came with the apartment, and I haven't found the time to do anything about it yet. I'm sorry, but are you the long-lost heir of a billionaire or something? This place is huge! And oh my god, is that marble? No, I just get paid a lot for my job, enough to afford rent at least. No, I don't think I've asked you this yet, but what exactly is your job? My job is... I guess you could say I'm a programmer? I don't know, I just take on a few jobs every so often. Nothing super fancy or anything. Nothing super fancy? Ren, you have marble flooring. Leaving the newly discovered programmer at the entrance, I curiously venture further into his apartment. Marble's a pain in the ass to clean too. Is it because marble is technically porous and you murdered someone in here and you had to clean the blood out and it took you a while? Oh, Angel, do you want some slippers? The floors can get cold and your shoes are probably soaked, right? Turning around, I notice Ren opening a small closet and pulling out a pair of dark house slippers. He looks at me with a curious expression, but makes no effort to hand them over. Only if you want them. I'll take them, but only because they might be dingy. Ren lets out a puff of laughter through his nose at my joke, but he doesn't seem to deny it as I put them on. I notice how they were in my exact size, and it makes me wonder if he had bought a bunch of expensive house slippers in varying sizes. But as funny as that imagery was, how did Ren accurately guess my shoe size without seeing my feet? Yeah, why didn't I show you the bathroom? I'll find you something to wear in the meantime while your clothes are in the dryer. Or would you prefer a towel? Sorry, I don't usually invite people over. Seeing his timid side resurface once more gave me the sudden urge to tease him. Just a towel? Nothing else? Yeah, to keep you warm instead of taking a shower? Unless you prefer a blanket, because I'm pretty sure I have an electric... Oh. It was as if all the gears inside his head were finally clicking together. No, I didn't mean... I meant a towel that you can wear over your clothes, not just you in a towel, unless you'd want to, but why would you... Okay, he's really cute sometimes. I'm just gonna shut up now. That wasn't what I meant at all, but his reaction was priceless nonetheless. Anyways, I'll show you to the bathroom. You can use whatever you want in there. Nothing is off limits. First it was offering to spend the night at my place. Then it was asserting himself as my boyfriend in front of my friends. He really doesn't care about personal boundaries, huh? I was beginning to think that Ren didn't seem to mind when it came to me invading his personal bubble as well. Though he still seemed pretty standoffish around Tio and Leon, and it took him a while to warm up to Eleanor back at the library. Where is Eleanor? I haven't heard from her. He even seemed indifferent when he first met Violet, but I figured it was only because he was shy. Speaking of being shy, I still noticed how Ren didn't seem to be switching up his personality as much anymore, and I was beginning to think he was showing me his real side. Up until now, everything felt real and genuine, and I found that we could bounce back witty retorts between each other more easily, though every now and then, he might slip up and stutter, but I just assumed that it was because my teasing made him flustered. So maybe the timid side of him was genuine after all. But I'll leave some clothes for you outside, and put the plushie I bought for you in your room. Oh, yeah, thanks. Great, I was zoning out again and completely missed half of what he was saying. Something about clothes and the plushie he bought? Was he talking about the Haruko plushie I was eyeing earlier? I mean, he was carrying a gift bag from the souvenir shop earlier. Did he really buy me that toy? Ren, however, doesn't seem to pick up on my confusion and invitingly opens the bathroom door for me with a soft smile. And so, without trying to make things awkward, I quickly slip inside and lean against the door for support. Which was fortunate for me because one sweep of the bathroom had me stumbling back in surprise. Oh god, this looks great! I always love bathtubs on like a little stand like that. Even his restroom looked expensive. I was afraid of touching anything, fearing I'd accidentally break it and end up paying for it. Glancing around again, I noticed how his countertop seemed to be void of any dental care, hairbrushes, and skincare products. Though a few bottles of concealer and an open box of hair dye sat in the corner near the sink. Well, I guess that answers my burning question on whether or not he naturally had pink hair. But now it made me wonder, if Ren does dye his hair, then what was his natural hair color? There were still so many things I didn't know about that soft-looking guy, and I was beginning to question whether coming here was a good idea or not. With a sigh, I decided not to waste any more time thinking about the irrelevant things, and instead turned my attention back to the shower. You mean he dyed his hair recently because he found out you liked Haruko? Quickly stripping out of my clothes, I jump into the unnecessarily large glass booth and turn the water on. Glancing at Ren's shelf of albeit limited hair products, I couldn't help but notice that one brand in particular just so happened to be the exact same as mine. Did we use the same shampoo? He didn't really smell like me, but maybe that was because I wasn't paying much attention. I mean, who randomly smells people out of the blue anyway? Shaking my head at such a silly notion, I begin to scrub away the lingering smell of rain from my body and quickly finish washing up. Bundled in a warm towel, I crack open the large door and poke my head out into the hallway. True to his word, Ren left a small pile of clothing outside the bathroom, neatly stacked and propped up against the side of the wall. Bringing the contents back inside, I noticed that one piece of clothing in particular was a rather comfy-looking hoodie, but the design on the front, however, was rather morbid-looking and didn't really suit Ren's vibes. Maybe from a horror film or something? The slasher hoodie! The slasher hoodie that Violet mentioned that guy was wearing when he exited the apartment on the first night. Shrugging my shoulders, I put the hoodie on and instantly get enveloped by the sheer amount of fabric. I mean, it made sense considering Ren's large and lanky frame, but this was just absurd. I had to stifle a laugh from the amusing sight in the fogged-up mirror, but I had to admit that the soft fabric felt nice and warm against my skin. Even the scent that came from it felt oddly comforting somehow. Turning back to the remaining clothes in the pile, I gently pick up the next item and try to put it on. The grey sweatpants didn't seem to fit the length of my legs despite the number of times I tried to roll up the elastic. But luckily Ren was thoughtful enough to give me other alternatives. The dark pair of shorts seemed like the better option, especially since it came with a drawstring and deep pockets. Once I was fully dressed, I step out of the bathroom and aimlessly walk around until I hear the faint sounds of a TV playing. Feeling curious, I follow the source to the sound down the hallway. Breaking news, a sudden storm hits the bay as gale force winds and knock over street sights and even awnings. There's like static sounds. Believe that this sudden change in weather would die down soon and to stay safe indoors. I continue to follow the noise until it suddenly cuts out and changes into glaring monotone sound, indicating that the television must have lost all signal. And soon enough I find myself in Ren's spacious lounge. Aside from the TV, the rest of the lights are off, but I could still make out most of the dark shapes within the room with ease. It was just as ostentatious as the rest of his house, though I couldn't help but feel like it lacked any form of life. It just didn't seem like someone actually lived here. The furniture was gaudy, yet tasteless. There was hardly any personal decoration or colors, and there was nothing that really screamed Ren to me. There were no personal touches, photos, items, hobbies, nothing. Just tacky furniture and the bland smell of something sterile. Okay, now I'm genuinely thinking he might have killed whoever owned this apartment and just took it. If I was being honest, it gave off the same vibe as a dentist clinic or a hospital. I mean, he did mention recently moving in, right? Maybe that's why. Oh, he's changed into another shirt, and he's got grey sweatpants on that just like sit real. Oh, he's cute. Who moved in? Surprised by the sudden voice, I spin on my heel only to find Ren coming out from one of the hallways with a new set of comfy clothing. He seemed much more at ease like this, especially with the gentle expression on his face. I watch as he takes a respectful glance at my attire, before sheepishly averting his attention to the ends of his sleeve. Sorry, that's the smallest pair of clothing that I own. It looks really good on you though. Oh, Thanks. You can even keep them if you want. The sound of thunder rumbling in the distance cuts off Ren's mumbling, and I involuntarily step closer to him. Without missing a beat, he reaches out and rests a protective hand on my shoulder to steady me. Ren idly glances out of the window, before turning his undivided attention back to me once more, only this time with a determined look. It's really pouring, huh? I could only nod my head at his words, suddenly feeling sheepish. I really should have checked the weather forecast before I went out today. But to be fair, it didn't look as though it would start spontaneously raining when I left my apartment this morning. New Ren theory. Ren's the one who made it rain. Okay, now we're getting a little bit silly. And I guess I was enjoying my time with Ren to the point where I didn't even realize the weather was turning sour. Angel? Sorry, what did you say? I just asked if you wanted to stay the night here, you know? Seeing how hard it's raining out there and your clothes haven't finished drying yet. It'd be no trouble, and I could return the favor, considering how you let me stay at your apartment yesterday. Staying at his place for the night? Well, this certainly isn't how I expected to end my day. But would it really be that bad? It definitely beats waiting out the storm and walking home with a bunch of puddles everywhere. What the heck is that one? What is that one? What is going on? What's happening? What was that? Did he compel me? Did I really want to stay the night at Ren's place? I guess I did. I couldn't really remember otherwise. Oh my god. Oh my god. Hang on. He can compel you. I swear. So if I pick this one, this is my own choice. This one is influenced. I guess I could stay the night, if that's really okay with you. Yeah, of course, it's totally fine. Yeah, this one, he's like, that's wild. Oh my god, hang on. I'm gonna do this one first. I guess I could stay the night, if that's really okay with you. Yeah, of course, it's totally fine. Oh, he really was an energetic, eccentric man, wasn't he? Let me know if you need any more pillows or blankets, or if the room gets too cold. I haven't worked out how to use the fancy heater system yet, but I can definitely try. Also, you already know where the bathroom is, but if you... Okay, I think I got it, Ren. I shoot him a reassuring smile as I turn to face him at the door. I should have gotten used to his attentive and observant behavior by now, but it still felt like a foreign side of him that I hadn't fully uncovered. At least he wasn't stuttering as much anymore. There is a vague shape of something in his pants right there, and I'm kind of wondering if it's his wim-wam. I know, sorry. I just want you to be as comfortable as possible, so just treat this house like it's your own. Alright, gotcha. He looks as if he doesn't want to leave, and instead lingers in the front door a little while longer. You sure there isn't anything you need? Anything at all? Yay! Ren, come sleep in my... What's behind that locked door? Yeah, what's behind that locked door, Ren? Can you sleep in my bed tonight? Sleep in your... Angel, do you know what you're asking me? Wait, are you asking me to... Deciding to put him out of his misery, I answer his question by stepping closer towards his lanky frame and into his personal space. Yes, Ren, I want to spend a bit more time with you. I don't want to be lonely tonight. You don't want to be lonely? I mean, you're not sick of me yet? Ren's cheeks flush red as he awkwardly shuffles his weight from one foot to the other. I watch as he begins to pick at the ends of his sleeve, perhaps out of habit before he notices his actions and stops. Bright blue eyes looked down at me and I could practically feel the hope radiating from his body. Deciding to take the initiative, I step even closer to the pink-haired man and rest my hands against his sides. Without missing a beat, I pull Red into the room by the ends of his shirt, making sure to tug him down and plan to kiss on his inviting lips in the process. He seemed surprised for a brief moment, if his wide eyes were any indication, but he quickly recovers by wrapping a large hand around my waist and pulling me closer to his body. Oh, here we go again. I'm gonna have to voice sexy man sounds again. Pressed flush against his warmth now, I paid no mind to the cold bite of the wind outside his window, alongside the ominous lulls of thunder off in the distance and the streaks of lightning illuminating the dark sky. I somehow felt safe in his embrace, and the way he was pressing a hot, fervent kisses against my mouth made me forget all about the muted downpour of rain outside. Ren seemingly felt the same, given how he didn't even bat an eye at the flash of lightning, instead appearing content with hoisting my legs around his waist and carrying me towards the edge of the bed. Ho-ho! Well, that was rather bold of him. I let him take the initiative for the moment and let my hands aimlessly wander up and down the expanse of his admittedly large chest. Yeah, I want to know what's his bra size. Wait. Hang on. He had a... I just noticed. Where's his tattoo? Okay, did he cover it with the concealer? Because there are a couple bottles of concealer and hair dye in the bathroom. Did he like cover up his tattoo? Because I can still see this one down here. But there was one like snaking up his neck before and it's gone. Okay. Before settling against the exposed skin just above his grey sweatpants instead. My sudden touch seems to pull an audible gasp from Ren, as his lips begrudgingly leave my own to peer down at me instead. You sure you want to? Again? Ren's eyes maintain that hopeful sheen to them, though I can tell by his hesitance that he didn't want to instigate anything without my consent. And so with an affirmative nod, I closed my eyes and pressed my body against his once more, as his mouth and teeth playfully returned to that sensitive spot on my neck. The faint pitter-patter of rain against glass fills the empty silence in the room, before it's replaced by the sounds of us falling into the mattress in a mess of tangled limbs and fervent kisses. The fresh smell of linen and soft sheets fill my senses, until it slowly starts to morph into a vague visage of Ren, with his large frame blocking my view as he slowly crawls on top of me. Cherry-tinted lips return once more in the form of frantic kisses, and hushed moans as his hands roam up and down my sides in a soothing manner. His entire being overwhelms me, and I couldn't help but want to reciprocate his addictive ministrations. And so, almost unabashedly, I run my hands down the warm expanse of his chest once more, before tugging at the hem of his shirt, indicating that I wanted him to take it off. Just like last time, Ren's hand moves to stop me once more. Not yet, I still don't. I'm sorry, but I don't want to take it off just yet. Hey, it's okay. Not wanting to startle him, I gently cup Ren's cheek to give him some sort of reassurance. He'd been nothing but patient and understanding with me during our last intimate encounter, so it was only fitting for me to return the favor. Whatever you're comfortable with, Ren. His eyes seem to soften at my words the moment he hears them, so he sends me a blinding smile in response. Large, gentle hands encompass my waist as Ren shifts his body closer, nuzzling his head into my neck before he speaks once more. Me too. I only want to do what you're comfortable with. Okay, this is really sweet. Lifting his head, Ren's lips return to mine once again, and I kiss Ren back with the same amount of desire and ardor. I can feel one of his hands chart a path down my side to play with the strings of my shorts before teasingly tugging them loose and slipping underneath. His hand doesn't go down any further than my hip, but the way he touched me felt different somehow. It had barely been a day since we last did this, yet it seemed as though Ren was a completely different person this time. His touch felt more practiced and confident now, and it was almost like he wasn't holding himself back anymore. His kisses, however, were all too familiar. I could practically feel the adoration and devotion with every press of his lips, and the faint taste of mint brought back those intimate moments shared in the darkness of my bedroom. Actually, his voice is nothing but a whisper against my skin, before he draws back slightly to look at me in my eyes. Can we try something different tonight? Ren's timid tone catches me off guard, and I look up at him to see him sporting an inquisitive glint in his eyes. Curious, and perhaps a little out of breath from the heated makeout session we just shared, I raise an eyebrow at Ren's sudden request, but allow him to continue nonetheless. I can't just raise one eyebrow. Is this one eyebrow or is this both of them? Can't do it. Here, lay back. With his honeyed voice as soft as his gaze, Ren gently pulls me towards the end of the bed by my hips. A puff of laughter escapes my throat at the sudden motion, before it abruptly morphs into a moan as Ren situates himself between my thighs instead. And despite the heavy tension in the air, I hear something fall from the pillows above my head and begrudgingly look up to see what it was. My mind barely has a moment to process the Haruko plushie leaning on its side. Did Ren really go out of his way to buy this for me? Before he easily hoists my legs over his shoulder and steals my attention once more, I watch on with avid curiosity, as Ren shoots me an unreadable grin in return, barely drawing my focus away from his hands as they slowly travel down my sides to hook themselves in the waistband of my shorts. Ah, so that's what he had in mind. Okay, this is quite perfect. He's like willing to, you know. Catching on quickly, I lift my hips to let Ren remove them alongside my panties. One of the only particles of clothing left that hadn't been soaked by the rain, now completely bare before him. I felt the urge to turn on my side and hide away from his heavy gaze, but the lustful look in his eyes convinces me to stay put, almost shaking in anticipation. I watch as his hand travels lower and lower until... Ah. That's what it says. Hang on, I'll move myself. Ah. Like, I'm not gonna go in my video and be like, yeah, or something. Cold fingertips brush against my inner thigh as Ren places butterfly kisses against my left ankle. His descent is slow, deliberate, and ardent. His soft lips meet the space near his fingers. I can feel his mouth move against my skin. Pleasure-filled mind can process his words. Just like that, you don't need to do anything. Aw, I feel spoiled. Ren's blue eyes shine faintly in the darkness, and I could catch the softest hint of mischief behind them. What do you bet that his eyes are contacts? Let me take care of you. Squeezing my eyes shut, I feel his lips leave a trail of wet kisses against my skin, closer and closer until... The next thing I knew, I could feel Ren's warm mouth press flush against the spot where I was aching the most. A hot tongue darts out to lick a long wet stripe, and I had to resist the urge to arch back into his touch. His fingers soon join in, all too familiar as they slowly enter, causing my breath to hitch at the sudden sensation. They curl and prod against my walls, as Ren shifts slightly to press soft kisses against my stomach and thighs once more, before slowly inching his face closer and closer to where I need him the most. The wet tip of his tongue lands, and I open my eyes in time to watch him eagerly lap everything up, falling between my thighs with a debauched grin. Ren! I can practically feel him laugh at my reaction, seemingly pleased with having me watch on with bated breath and clenched muscles. And just like that, his mouth goes back as his two fingers continue their ministrations. Oh my god. Okay. Another finger soon joins the others, and my thighs unconsciously close around his head. Ren lets out a pleased hum at this, clearly content with being sandwiched between my legs and being so close. He gives a loving nip at my skin to show his appreciation, before sinking his head lower and deeper, lapping up my wetness like a man starved. I've dreamed about this. You taste better than anything I was expecting. His words came out as nothing but a mumbled sticky mess against my skin, bringing on another wave of pleasure that was slowly building inside of me. I can feel Ren's other hand run up and down my thigh in a soothing manner, before gently prying them apart. Cold air rushes past our bodies, and sends a shiver up my spine, and I can feel him readjust himself beneath me, before returning with renowned fervor. His mouth is hot, and I watch as his eyes close in bliss as he moans. Okay, here it is. Hang on. I can do it. You taste divine. I could stay here forever. He sounds serious about his declaration, and the mental image of Ren on his knees whilst nestled between my thighs emits yet another low whine from me. The movement of his fingers only adds to the building sensation, and the sudden addition of his tongue does little to stifle the burning desire inside of me. It was starting to become too much for me to keep bottled up, and have to hold myself back from pulling at the sheets and crying out in pleasure, or at the very least, stop tugging on Ren's hair and shamelessly moan out his name. Completely unaware of my inner turmoil, he pushes in deeper, and in my hazy pleasure I can faintly make out the metallic feeling of his ring rubbing against my entrance. Wait, what? Ren! Gilbert moans against my skin in response, as his free hand ghosts along my still closed stomach to play with my chest. I can barely keep my eyes open as I give in to the hazy pleasure that he's giving me. Clenching my eyes shut, I can almost make out Ren trying to spell his name with his tongue, and I can barely hold myself back from keening out at the budding sensation. Seemingly enjoying all the sounds he pulls from my lips, Ren looks up from my thighs and gives me another playful grin. That's it. You're doing so well, Angel. Oh. Butt back against my face if you want to. Don't be shy. At his words, Ren seems to pick up on my sudden hesitance, if my slight change in body language was anything to go by. That's okay. Use me to make yourself feel good. God, in some cases he's really perfect, isn't he? Jeez. And with that, Ren goes back to licking like it's his last meal. I can feel him softly moaning against my skin, and before his tongue joins his fingers to stretch me out and make me see stars. I couldn't help but do as he says in that moment, shamelessly bucking my hips and bordering on riding his face as Ren reaches the deepest part of me. Soon enough, the pressure becomes too much for me to handle, and I can only cry out his name like a broken record on repeat. I'm close. I can't read my own lines. Maybe if there was like no face cam and I was like this and I could really put my whole RC into it. Yeah? It's okay. Come for me, Angel. Eek! My voice echoes out into the dark room as my back arches off the bed. Shamelessly riding Ren's tongue and fingers, I rock back and forth until the pleasures become too much for me to handle. His free hand grips my thighs to pull me impossibly close to his mouth, and his ministrations soon speed up to help me reach my peak. Ren's name continues to fall from my lips like a mantra as I tumble over that blissful edge, tugging on the roots of his hair as I fall into a pit of pleasure below. Blinding white floods my vision as I moan out in bliss. My breath is shaky as I slowly fall back onto the bed to catch my breath, and I can feel Ren leaving soft kitten licks against my skin as I calm down. Slowly, he crawls up from beneath me, but not before adjusting my legs around his waist once more rather than his shoulders. His soft cerulean eyes find mine in the darkness as Ren places a gentle kiss on my temple, alongside murmurs of praise and reassurance. The moment feels so soft and tender, just like how he was looking at me, and almost instinctively, I weakly reach for the band of his sweatpants to return the favor. But before I could get anywhere near him, Ren grabs my hand and brings it towards his face instead. Here, let me... It's okay. But you did all the work, and I want to return the favor. It's okay, really, as long as you get to feel good. He repeats himself as he snuggles closer into my side, almost as if he was used to this intimate routine by now. Strong arms wrap around my waist as Ren's body collapses behind me, carefully pulling me into the warmth of his chest before he starts to draw shape on my stomach. From this position, I can easily make out the outline of his hard-on pressing against my backside, and did little to ease my consciousness. Ren? Yinny? Ren! He lets out a bemused hum behind me, before halting his movements and breathing in my scent. Alright, maybe next time you can return the favor then. But only if you want to. At that, Ren pulls me even closer into the warmth of his body, if it was even possible, given how inseparable we are right now. Or you could let me go down on you again. You're my new favorite dessert now. Forget that boardwalk cafe. I couldn't help but laugh at that. It certainly wasn't something I'd imagined Ren to say, but he seemed to be full of unexpected surprises tonight. A comfortable silence soon washes over the both of us, and I can feel Ren mumble a faint, getting sleepy, "Good night, Angel," against my shoulder. Well, he certainly seemed to fall asleep quickly. Leaving me to my own devices, I idly take in the interior of the dark room until the urge to sleep consumes me. The soft patter of rain and thunder still echoes in the distance, coupled with Ren's soft breathing, gives me a moment to myself to think. How did I feel about Ren? He's kind of creepy. I think he's alright. I'm crushing on him. Okay, so maybe I did find him rather endearing and attractive. Ren was very considerate and attentive towards me during our date, and I could see myself wanting to go on another date in the near future. And there was also the fact that we got intimate twice now. Surely that was saying something about my feelings for Ren. He certainly had boyfriend potential, but I still needed to work up the nerve to make it lean towards that direction. He seemed confident in every other aspect though, which was still a bit confusing to me. Ah well, just knowing Ren wanted to spend the entire day with me is enough. Rolling onto my side, I reach for the discarded plushie so I can be surrounded by his comforting scent and slowly drift off to sleep. Alright, let's save here. This is the end of day 2, but I want to try and get some of the bad endings. Let's skip forward. Okay, what happens if we walk home alone? This is stupid. Forget it. It doesn't really matter what he was doing. Ren shouldn't have taken over 20 minutes to buy an umbrella. This is just ridiculous. Besides, it was getting cold and the wind was starting to pick up. If I stay out here any longer, I'll probably get swept away. Violet's flower shop should be nearby. Maybe I could wait out the storm there? I mean, it was only a few blocks away, and she did tell me about the spare key under one of the flower pots in case of an emergency. This is kind of an emergency, right? Just as I psych myself up to sprint towards the next overhanging roof, a cold hand wraps around my wrist and scares the absolute shit out of me. Yanking back, I instinctively turn around in panic before meeting Ren's worried blue eyes. Angel, where are you going? You shouldn't be running anywhere in this weather. Jeez, Ren, what took you so long? Forget it. I'm going home. Ren, you took way too long. I honestly thought you left me at this point. Why would I... It doesn't matter. You've already wasted my time and now I'm all soaked. Okay, I feel really bad. 20 minutes is not that long. I'm just gonna head home. Thanks for today, but after waiting for so long, I'm no longer in a good mood. But wait! He grabs onto my wrist again, but this time his grip was much stronger, almost as if he wanted to keep me here. Turning to face him, I barely give him more than a second to explain before I decide to walk off. You wanted that Haruko plushie from earlier, right? I bought it on the way back. I really didn't think it'd take that long, but as if to prove a point, he offers me the bag from under his arm. And true to his word, there was a plushie I was eyeing, all wrapped up in a plastic casing to stop it from getting wet. It almost pulled at my heartstrings, and I would have found his consideration endearing like usual. But something about seeing Ren with that cashier from earlier still rubbed me the wrong way. For all I know, he could have been chatting her up while she wrapped the toy. No, it's fine. You can keep it. I just want to go home, okay? So please let go of my arm now. As if finally noticing his grip on me, Ren hesitantly lets go of my arm. and not before gently placing the bag into my arms for me to take and offering me a pitiful smile. I feel really bad. I feel... Oh no, I feel bad. But really, I was just buying this for you. I'm sorry it took so long. I merely offer him one final nod of my head before I turn on my heel. Whether or not he perceived that as me accepting his apology was up to him. You're really going? Wait! He reaches for my sleeve this time, and I feel him give it a faint tug before he lets go, almost as if he remembered my words from earlier. Please don't go, please stay, I'll buy you something else. What about your favorite snack? Or do you want another scone? There's a convenience store nearby. I feel really bad, I feel terrible. 20 minutes is not even that long of a time to wait. If anything, I would have been more worried as to why he took so long and if he got caught in the rain or something. Or maybe some manga we can go to the library instead. Was he seriously putting up that timid act again? After all this time? I didn't even bother turning around at this point. Angel, please. Please don't go, I'm sorry. Let me make it up to you. Okay, but he really has nothing to apologize for. Yiddy! His voice gets drowned out by the rain as I hurriedly back home, using his bag as a makeshift umbrella. I feel terrible. Slamming the door shut, I immediately throw the bag in frustration, before picking it back up and ensuring the contents inside it was still okay. After all, this poor Haruko plushie didn't deserve such horrid treatment. Ren sure did. No, he doesn't. Placing it back on the table, I decide to change out of my wet clothes and take a quick shower. There was no use in making things even worse by catching a cold. I didn't even check to see if Moth was online later and vent to them. God, I really want to scream right now. Once I was finished with my shower, I noticed how the plushie was no longer on the table where I left it. Strange. Did it fall off? I shuffle around the kitchen island to investigate when the power suddenly turns off. Great, now there's a blackout too, huh? In a pathetic attempt not to bump into anything, I fumble around for a cupboard under the sink to try and find some spare matches and candles. Oh no. Oh god, this is it. Here's the bad ending. I feel so bad. We shouldn't have treated him so terribly. But as I do so, I barely make out the sound of my front door creaking open. Oh no, here we are again. Again. Minnie, why are you doing this? You're not gonna find anything here. It's just me. Nothing else exists here. Why don't you just play the game normally? That way neither of us will have to be stuck in this dark void. I love being with you, watching you interact with everything. Everything is so bright and colorful when you're around. Will you let me out? Please let me out. It's no fun here. I wouldn't be with you. I love you. Oh, it's the same as the first time. Oh god. Okay. What if we go back to his apartment? And let's ask about the locked door. The locked door? What door? Oh, you mean the one at the end of the hallway? All of a sudden, his timid persona's back again. Was he just nervous? What could he be possibly hiding in that room to make him act like this? There's nothing in particular, just, I'm currently using it as a storage room for all the furniture from my old place. It's really messy in there. I'd be embarrassed if you saw what was behind that door. Oh, yeah, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Great, now I'm the person who threw accusations at someone kind enough to offer me a place to stay for the night. Still, it was nice to know that he did own some kind of furniture. Sorry, I guess I was just really curious about it. Usually people don't leave the lights on behind locked doors. Oh, yeah. I'd be happy to show you what's behind that door when it's not so cluttered. But if that's all, then I guess I'll let you get some sleep. If you need anything, my room is just 3 doors down. Gotcha. Good night, Ren. Good night, Yinny. Sweet dreams. I watch in silence as Ren turns on his heel and makes his way towards his own room down the hall. Shaking my head at his odd behavior, I close the door behind me and slowly make my way towards the bed. I notice that the Haruko plushie Ren bought earlier was sitting on top the sheets, and I gently bring it closer to my chest to give it a soft squeeze. So he really did buy this for me after all. The faintest hint of cherry and mint emits from the toy, and makes my mind drift to the thoughts of that strange pink-haired man once more. He was still odd as usual, but some parts of him were starting to feel rather endearing. I noticed how he was no longer stuttering as much or acting as shy, and it made me wonder if we were getting closer. Now that I really thought about it, how did I feel about Ren? We'll pick the crush bit. Yeah, so this all seems to be the same. Yeah, so this is just like your standard ending without the spicy scene. But yeah, that concludes day 2 of 14 days with you. That was really good. I really liked meeting a lot more characters. Like, I think Teo was a nice addition. His throat was so hot, but he was such a bad person. And I liked getting to know more about Ren. There's a couple of things I'm starting to notice, like I mentioned in the video, that points to him not quite being human. So the glitchy text, the fact that he seems to be able to compel us to make a decision. Also, just like, yeah, like the weird glitchy thing that happens when he's around, nobody living on the floor of his apartment, the lack of furniture in his place, him mentioning the thing about marble, like there is something like otherworldly, I think. I could be wrong, but it just kind of feels like something is not quite human. But I had so much fun with this. Thank you so much again for playing this with me. I hope you guys enjoyed day 2 of the story, and I will get day 3 up as soon as possible. If you haven't seen day 1 yet, I will put the link in the description box below. But in the meantime, if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on the next parts and future videos. And if you have any thoughts about the game, feel free to drop them in the comment box below. I absolutely love reading it and chatting to all of you. Thank you so much again, and until next time, take care!